Hi, this is AJ Isaacson and welcoming you to episode 2 of my vlog. This week I've been primarily working on a poem by Emily Dickinson called Alone I Cannot Be. Alone I Cannot Be by Emily Dickinson. Alone I cannot be, for hosts do visit me, recordless company who baffle key. They have nor robes nor names, no almanacs nor climes, but general homes like gnomes. Their coming may be known by couriers within, their going is not, for they've never gone. I was drawn to this poem because of the mythical creatures that Emily Dickinson refers to reminded me of the hallucinations I experienced. I'm going to look at the first stanza today, and when I was doing my journaling, I described the first stanza as, I am unable to be alone because I have unexplainable, supernatural, invisible hosts that are always with me. The first question I thought of was, what was the best way to musically illustrate hallucinations? And the thing I came to was I wanted to have the string quartet speak words instead of playing notes. As a composer who usually composes inside the box, the idea of doing graphic notation was very foreign to me. And so I've looked at the hallucinations in 3 different phases. The first one I did was I just wrote words down on paper, notating size, shape, inflection. The next thing I did was draw a single staff line onto the paper and drew sort of notation, but not on a full staff. The third thing I did was put it into, I actually recorded myself speaking the words and put them into Cakewalk and mixed them together to get an idea of what it would actually sound like. Alone. Alone I cannot be, for hosts do visit me, recordless company who baffle key. The next step was translating the words onto the staff. Alone. Alone. Alone I cannot be, for hosts do visit me, recordless company who baffle key. Alone. In the workshop I took this summer, we learned about using what's called a DAW to mix multiple track recordings. This allows me to record each voice one by one and layer them in together. And so I created the first stanza of Alone I Cannot Be using this system. Alone, I cannot be. 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 Alone 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 I cannot be. Host visit. Host visit. Host visit. Alone. Key. Key. Alone I cannot be. Alone I cannot be. Gnomes. Hosts. Alone company. Visit me. Alone I cannot be. Host. Company. Visit. Gnomes. Baffle. Alone. Gnomes. Alone. I cannot be alone. This has been a frustrating week for me. First of all, I was trying to get the notation figured out and how to write out what I'm hearing. The other part is digging into sort of the more difficult part of my history. My teacher, Randall, says I've captured one part of the hallucinations, but he wants me to go back to when I was first starting to hear voices, and bring people on the journey from when I was first diagnosed to where I am now, where I'm healthy. So one thing I did is I dug out my old journals. And so this week my goal is to read my journals and just sort of remember what it was like when I was living through the hallucinations and the sickness. This has been a difficult movement for me to work on. The other movements dealt more with mental illness in sort of a general sense, but this one is using my own experience and digging into my past as to what it was like. I haven't talked much about my hallucinations outside of therapy, but now I'm in a place where I'm feeling very vulnerable and expressing my hallucinations in such a public venue. But I continue on because I think it's an important thing to know what it's like to live with mental illness. Thank you for joining me. See you next week. Bye.